Nowadays, it is becoming an all too familiar scene, turning on the nightly news and having the lead story be the day's casualties of war. But what if the war I'm referring to is not taking place in Iraq or Germany? Instead, it is happening on our own soil, in our own classrooms. School shootings are killing off tomorrow's best and brightest, and with the brightest being gone, tomorrow is looking very dark. Why is DC split on gun control? How do we protect our children now? Today, I will tackle the controversial Second Amendment on this edition of Toward Intentions. February 14th, 2018 is a date the people of Parkland, Florida will never forget. Hello everybody, welcome to Toward Intentions. I'm your host, Austin Fox. On a day that is supposed to pay homage to love, one person decided to open fire on a high school rather than pass out roses and candy. That tragedy is just the latest on the list of school shootings. A couple of other dates that are etched in American history are April 20th, 1999, Columbine High School, Littleton, Colorado. 2 teens opened fire and setting off bombs in the school's cafeteria and library, killing 12 students, 1 teacher, and wounding 23 other people. May 16, 1986, a male and female walk into a Cokeville, Wyoming elementary school and took 168 people hostage. But would you believe that school shootings have been a problem in America for over 250 years? Dating back to the first shooting in 1764, the Pontiac School Rebellion Massacre. More than half of mass shooting incidents are still in progress when officers arrive on the scene, with 75% requiring law enforcement to confront the shooter before the threat ends. Prior to Columbine, nobody knew what the term active shooter meant. And in 2012, a study of 35 active shooter incidents found that 37% ended in less than 5 minutes and 63% in less than 15 minutes. The average active shooter incident lasts approximately 12 minutes. In 2002, the U.S. Justice Department and other federal agencies partially funded an active shooter program known as Advanced Law Enforcement Rapid Response Training, or ALERT. More than 105,000 law enforcement officers have been trained through the ALERT program, developed by the San Marcos, Texas Police Department and the Hays County, Texas Sheriff's Department. It includes a 16-hour course that prepares first responders to isolate and distract and end the threat when an active shooter is engaged. The first public school was founded in 1635. 130 years would pass before the first school shooting. That 130-year span is the longest stretch of time, and, might I add, the only time we have gone without terror in our schools. Conservatives like to place the blame on taking religion out of schools, while liberals like to place the blame on video games and music lyrics. Why are we the only nation that loves to place blame on others rather than accepting responsibility for our own actions? If kids are shooting other kids, if kids are walking into schools with guns and shooting other people, it is not the fault of video games. It is not the fault of music lyrics. It is the fault of parenting. Parents need to be more involved. Parents need to stop coddling their children. Parents need to know how to say no. These kids are feeling entitled, like the school owes them something. That's where that mentality is coming from. Gun control should have been an issue then. So why did it take nearly 200 years to pass before the topic became a hot-button issue? In order to talk about the Second Amendment, one must first understand it. The Bill of Rights are the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, and the Second Amendment states this, and I quote, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed." The Second Amendment was necessary for the time, a newly formed America against a strong English King George. But fast forward to 2018, is the law that ensured our safety against England going to be our undoing today? To help answer that question, I have reached out to a gentleman I met at a local gun show. To protect his and his family's safety, I will not be using real identities. Instead, I will refer to him simply as Nathan. Nathan, welcome to the show. My first question to you would be, what does the Second Amendment mean to you?
To me, the Second Amendment means that I have the right to defend myself, defend my home, and defend innocent people around me. It means I have the right to speak out and defend the liberties in which I have been given. It means in which that I can push back against tyranny. It means in which that I can safely lay my head down at night without the fear of someone breaking into my house and going to kill me or my family or someone else I love. It it is there as a safeguard for many reasons.
How old were you when you fired your first shot?
I fired my first shot when I was about 5 years old. My parents and my whole family wanted everybody to have a healthy respect to firearms. They wanted us to not be afraid of them, but respect that they are an instrument and they are a tool. There is no doubt about it. They can be used for good and evil, but they want us to understand that there is no reason to be afraid of a gun and know how to use a gun to protect ourselves.
What is the first thing you think of when you hear the term gun control?
When I hear gun control, I when I was really naive about it, because at one point in time I used to think gun control was just that, the control you had over a firearm. But as I read and found out, gun control does not mean that. Gun control means taking away rights and liberties. How can you sit there and subject people to this firearm is okay, but not this one? It's still a firearm. So gun control really, to me, makes no sense.
Conservatives are blaming lack of school prayer, while liberals are blaming video games and music lyrics. Who or what do you blame and why?
I blame video games, like the liberals say. I blame video games, part of it. But I also blame parents and adults for not teaching their children about firearms and not teaching them right and wrong. We have now glorified violence and tolerated it and said it was okay and turned the other cheek when something happens instead of standing up and saying no and pushing back. When a child walks over to another child and hits them in the face and we just give them time out instead of bending them over the parent's knee and spanking their butt. The child has learned, if I hit this person, all I'm going to get is told to stop and I have to go stare at a wall for a few minutes. There's no physical pain. There's no physical reminder that hurt. This is not okay. So consequently, we've become accepting of it. We've become accepting of violence.
Do you think arming school staff would be helpful or harmful to protecting schools?
I think if we want to protect schools, we have to start with the teachers. The teachers, in my opinion, they don't have to carry guns, but I think they should be knowledgeable. Not have to, but should be knowledgeable in firearms and defending the children, because the children don't know any better. The children aren't taught how to defend themselves until they're much older, unless they've lived in the middle of nowhere. And honestly, none of these kids have. These kids look up to these teachers for protection, for education. So consequently, how can these teachers truly protect these kids and help these kids if they themselves can't protect anything because their hands are tied? So the teacher should be allowed to carry.
In your opinion, what are the first steps needed in order to place us back on the right track towards gun safety?
The first steps in which to get on the right track, I would say, to gun safety, stop glorifying and stop saying it's okay to do bad. Stop saying, well, if that's what you feel, and glorifying gang violence and horrible acts through video games, TV shows, movies, music. Stop glorifying it. And stop letting children get by with bullying and harming other people because that's what mommy and daddy do and they think it's okay. The next thing would be to, and actually I'd say this would be a tie with number one. Teachers should be carrying. And people need to learn what common sense is. So this fear of guns is no more because there is no reason to be scared. You're scared of an inanimate object. Well, that inanimate object can't hurt you. I'm going to take a knife and lay it on a table. Is it going to cut me or slash me? No. I have to pick it up and cut myself with it. I'm going to put a gun on the table. Is it going to go off and kill somebody or shoot somebody? No. I have to pull that trigger. I have to put pounds of pressure on a trigger for the trigger to release the hammer and the hammer to hit the primer of the bullet and the bullet to go off. All of this has to take place with hands. Pounds, not ounces, pounds of pressure. So everybody, bar none, needs to know, needs to learn.
I would like to thank Nathan for taking the time out to speak with me today. Now, I know that gun control is not an easy fix, and the solution will not happen overnight. But as a nation, we need to come together and help our children, protect their safety, because school shootings, it is not a Republican issue. It is not a Democratic issue. It is a human issue. So to be kept up to date on this or any other topic, please go to www.towardintentions.com and subscribe. Or find and follow me on Twitter at TowardIntention. And as always, feel free to drop a comment or question at austinfox@towardintentions.com. I will leave you with this final thought. Saying that guns are the problem is absurd. Society saying that guns kill people, well, that's like me saying hustler and playboy gave me carpal tunnel syndrome. Till next time, Austin Fox saying, whatever your intention, make sure it's a toward intention. So long, everybody.